marching band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Sunday evening once again, and yes, that means it's time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast. This is episode 135 coming your way. As always, we've got 2 major topics in the Auburn space to discuss and catching you up on all that latest Auburn news and Auburn potpourri. Let's get into all those different things right now. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it. You can quantify and qualify it. I think, wow. You can quantify it and qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart, at its core, the Auburn experience is all about a few things. Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it might be, though, if I could actually say anything at all, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. Thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to do today. Auburn Experience Podcast, episode 135. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Loomis. Back with me in seat number 2, the best seat probably and most likely, Mr. Austin Scott. What's going on, sir?
How you doing? War Eagle to you, War Eagle Kyle, War Eagle to our viewers and listeners. Hope everyone's doing well on this Sunday. Kyle, this is the last episode of the Auburn Experience in July.
It is the last one of July 2025. Hopefully, we'll have more Julys to come.
Well,
and,
yes, you know what I mean.
Is there something special about this July that I need to know about? Or
well, it's the last one before August, and that is the month Auburn plays football. So,
that's can we just hold on? But you got to start the show this way, right? We're playing football in August.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, it's not
early.
okay.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
No, September.
Well,
remember something September. I know it's November, folks, but
yeah, okay. I'm glad you saved yourself there. But that's just the way the calendar falls. If we were playing on Saturday like everyone else, it'd still be August.
You know what makes more sense? Not having 2 bye weeks yet again and then playing and starting in September. I'm just saying.
I can't argue with you there.
My logic is sound. I won't go any further because we don't want to start the very start of the show with Kyle on yet another rant. There'll be many more, I'm sure, there at the show. Obviously, we got a full show for you, as always, with Auburn potpourri. 2 main topics coming up here. We're going to be discussing a little bit of fall practice, pre-practice, because it hasn't officially started as of us recording this, stories and questions that we have, probably mostly in the offensive space today. We're going to talk a little bit about Auburn and Nike and that debut of the stuff for the fans. A lot of you know probably spent a ton of money. We're going to talk about what we saw, what we read about, some of the things that went on sale there, and just kind of have some fun with that topic before things get crazy officially with lots and lots of football here today. But just kind of getting rolling here this evening. Austin was in Birmingham this weekend for a baby shower. Well, I wasn't at the baby shower, but I went to be in support of the baby shower for our family. That would be very weird if I was the only, male there in this to just,
Yeah.
I'm just, anyway, I feel like I'm digging myself a hole. I'm just going to get out of this hole real quick.
It's a good idea.
Just steer back. Being in Birmingham is always a good, just reminder of, while it is a split town, Auburn and Alabama, it is still much in the Alabama category because there's just tons and tons of the Bama folks all throughout Birmingham. And I mean, I would say every variety of Bama fans person, but they're all the same type in some way or form.
Look, I as a native and as one who considers their hometown Birmingham, by birth location only, my hometown's Auburn, Alabama. I'll go to my grave saying that. But it is not a split town by any means. There's a reason that it was pushed very hard to get that game out of there, and it was one of the best decisions that could have ever happened. So I apologize to you for whatever you had to endure in Birmingham this weekend.
Can we just agree that while it is and it's clearly in Alabama's favor, when you use the word split, there's a split. It's just not an even split.
It's not 50-50, no chance.
So if you had to go on Birmingham, like what do you think? We're sitting right here, end of July 2025. What would you say is the official Austin Scott split Auburn, Alabama?
It's not. I mean, it's not far off. I'd say 40-60. Now the 60 make themselves feel like 80 most days, but it's probably 40-60. Maybe 38-ish, 62-ish. But the majority's a loud majority.
It is a loud majority, but and they'll the funny thing is they'll just insert themselves into your circles of Auburn people together. They're like RT. It's like Tourette's, sorry if anybody's got Tourette's out there, but that's just kind of what happens today. So I'm reminded of that this week while I was in Birmingham. We have family there. We frequent there a lot. So I saw a sad little Aubie figurine at this Mexican restaurant, just sitting off by himself. Or I guess maybe he was trying to stay back from Alabama fans that were in the restaurant too. I don't know.
Maybe so.
I don't know. So anything this week for you or anything?
Well, just we'll get to talking about the majority of what this week entailed in around Auburn and in Auburn. There's plenty of hubbub. A lot of people came into town, but we talked to some people today who they are moving in, and so it is that kind of world right now. The kids are coming back soon. I think the girls are coming in for rush pretty soon here, and that's always a different part of the calendar year for those of us that live in Auburn year round. I've said this before, and it is not speaking of majority and minority, is not the majority line of thinking. But my wife and I are pretty fond of when the students are back in town and the city feels alive again.
Yeah.
It's nice for a little break. I'm not saying that, but when kids are back, it feels like home. It feels alive and moving again. So they're all coming back pretty soon. We're pretty excited.
No, it's certainly true statement that you can have good and bad that comes with that, but the city does come alive and takes a different personality.
Certainly.
In many ways when the students are there, but also during the summer too. We there's nothing bad about Auburn any time of the year. You can have those quiet, peaceful, and just kind of special, more carefree summers, but also you can have those exciting, energy-driven, and unique times when the students are there. So I wasn't sure if it actually was this week move-in week, or is it just the beginning stages of like sororities and stuff like that?
The people we talked to today, they were like saying that the apartment complex they were moving into what was the same day as some people could move out. And so I think it's pretty early, but I think this upcoming week, there's girls coming in for rush and moving into the dorms at an official move-in. But it certainly feels like, based on the families we saw and different people we saw, that they're coming back. Apartment, I guess, move-up time is maybe earlier than it used to be. So they're coming.
They say like elementary schools get started earlier and earlier every year. Maybe that's the case now with college.
Maybe so. I mean, my day job, we start in like 10 days. So it's pretty quick.
That went by fast, man. I'm going to be honest. Like we were just talking the other day and you were like, man, it's so nice just to kind of take it easy for a little bit. Obviously I have my, your responsibilities,
different things, but golly, like
it went by fast.
The fact the school year is starting soon for all the way up. Kindergarten to college is pretty wild.
It's here, man. We had told you that this summer, while at times it would drag on, in other ways it would be over before you know it. So enjoy this last month of it, because from this point forward, it's pretty much be a lot of focus on one thing, and that is football. Certainly other things out there, but there's going to be a lot of focus on football going forward. I want to start us off with Auburn potpourri as always, and round out with some of the other smaller quote unquote news stories out there that we won't spend as much time on individually. We'll keep it in the football realm to start off. Feels like every week, Austin, you and I are getting an opportunity to talk about a Auburn football commit for the 2026 class, and which completely flies in the narratives that some of you were led to believe and some of you bought into and some of you continue to push. Anyway, I'm not gonna go there. Commit Jaquez, not Jarquez. I have stopped myself a couple times with him this week talking about him. Jaquez Wilkes of Wadley, Alabama, not too far from Auburn, a little bit, not too far, who is going to be your 2026 edge linebacker, committed early last week. So this has been a few days since this has happened, but certainly I felt a lot of excitement around this one, Austin. I think whether it's the local quote unquote flavor, the defensive edge position or linebacker position as Auburn might utilize him, this kind of got people, I think, excited again in the recruiting space for Auburn football currently.
Yeah, the minute he commits, he immediately becomes Auburn's highest commit in its class. Speaking of my day job, I actually got to see Jaquez Wilkes up in close and personal last year as his team Wadley played the team school I work for. And let me tell you, Kyle, he is a force from the running back position as well. Just an absolute monster of a human being. Wadley, a 1A school that ended up winning the 1A state title, but he is everything for them as far as a force and looks the part. So a really good pickup for Auburn, a really good edge rusher and tackle as well. But I think at a school that's 1A, a lot of kids play both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
A school that's 3A plays a lot of both sides of the ball, but just an absolute unit. So who knows? We might see some of Wilkes on offense and defense once he gets to Auburn, if he so chooses. And he certainly has that history there. But really big pickup for Auburn, really highly regarded and highly rated. And that's good. Like you said, this class is not the world is not falling apart. The class is not falling apart, and there's still good things coming for Auburn in the class of 2026.
Yeah, obviously a great addition. That'd be wild to see someone play whatever defensive positions the most people think, linebacker and then running back. Could you imagine? I mean, that guy's going to get beat up if he does that, though. So I don't know.
Look, we who knows? Who knows? We just saw a Heisman Trophy winner with two-way. We'll have to see.
I knew you were going to bring that one up in there, but at least anyway, he was a great talent. I'm not going to take a shot at him in any way. But Jaquez Wilkes, your new addition to 2026, and we're excited to have him part of the class. Let's talk about some things that are a little bit all-encompassing, more of the experience side of this for fans, but it throws sports in there as well. And this is why this is a perfect topic for the Auburn Experience podcast. This week, a big announcement for Auburn Athletics. They announced the multi-year partnership with Peachtree Entertainment to bring live entertainment, mostly music, I think is what I've seen, how they list themselves, for Jordan-Hare Stadium and Neville Arena. I did not anticipate this week. I'm not saying that it's not something that wasn't in the realm of possibilities with all that's happening with revenue generation, things like that. I think you and I have even spoken somewhat in the recent history of this show about what are we going to see? Will we ever see something like this? But Peachtree Entertainment, also partnering with Elevate, who's kind of an agency group. I've got some more facts here if we need them, but brand new partnership that's going to bring live music entertainment to those places. What you for this, Austin? What do we think?
Yeah, it's really funny that this came out when it did. Just like a week ago, a friend of mine were on a road trip to Atlanta, and we were talking about when we were in school that there were a couple concerts at Jordan-Hare. There was a couple of those big country fest concerts that I think Chicken Salad Chick helped put on, and some other things. And then it kind of just went away. Like it was there for a couple of years and then just never heard from again. Of course, the grass, I remember the grass getting like totaled was like a huge talking point, but it was after A-Day. It was certainly had the whole summer to recover. But then you never heard about it again. So it's really interesting that this kind of comes up when it does. I do think without any inside knowledge at all whatsoever, I do think that it is pretty telling of the times we're in, of looking anywhere to make some revenue. A lot of times these venues get their guarantee of money no matter what by the artist, and then it's on the artist to pay themselves back in a way through tickets and other things, and then you throw in concessions as well. Certain types of beverages, I'm sure. Pay off in the long run. So I'm not surprised at all. I will say what kind of shocked me the most about the announcement was the inclusion of Neville Arena, because we haven't seen that. We've all heard, I think, from our parents and their parents of the concerts of lore from in Beer Deeves Coliseum.
Yep. Elvis, all that.
Elvis, Lionel Richie. I'm trying to remember who else my my mom and dad used to always talk about.
Jimmy Buffett didn't do one here.
Yes, Jimmy
He
Buffett.
did?
Okay. On that note, please tell us and send pictures in of your concerts that you've been in BRDs for. But it looks like Neville will have that same opportunity, and kids in school will be able to tell those stories about seeing people in Neville Arena. So I think that's cool. I really like that as a resident. We've talked about the Goose Performing Arts Center, how they're going to have a big amphitheater now. This is another way to bring in some outside entertainment into Auburn in the off season, things like that. I think both venues are great for it, and I look forward to seeing kind of who they come up with. It sounded like maybe we'll get some names here later this fall for next year.
Yeah. It's really exciting. I've always preached this to people because people are like, what do you go to Auburn for besides the sports? And I'm telling you folks, Auburn's becoming this little town with a big scene, meaning I'm not just going to say a music scene, not going to say just food scene. It is a big scene. It's a big thing that you can come and have a great time there, whether it's the natural beauty of it, going to state parks like Chihuahua or the preserves, the Arboretum. You're going to have live entertainment in this aspect. You've already got the performing arts centers and things like that. There's just the local town entertainment, fair food, all this stuff. And let's just not even get into just walking around on campus and learning about the history of it, going to get you some Mama G's, going to get you some Tumors lemonade. Just stop me whenever you want to, Austin. I mean, come on. I love this announcement. I know some of you are going to probably take the slant of it. Yet another thing they're trying to monetize. Yeah. Have you seen the bill they're trying to pay in some ways? You got to do these things. So,
well, that outside of from November until February or well, I guess spring practice gets moved up earlier.
Yeah,
Jordan-Hare sits there, and I think it's a great opportunity for them to bring in some big talent. Those concerts I talked about back in 2015, 2016 were well attended, and tons of people. So I'm not surprised. Kyle, I'm going to put you on the spot.
And I knew you got to me before I could get to you.
No, I knew it. That's why I started talking again.
Dang it.
Tell me one person either you want to see or you expect to see on the announcement. Go ahead.
Well, can we just go ahead and acknowledge, I think the perfect way to kick this off, had he not passed away, would be Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, ties to Auburn already been here.
Correct.
That's a done deal if he's still with us. I'm just going to go personal. I don't know that he would have any interest because he's a Georgia boy, and I think he's even sung about the Dogs before. But Zach Brown Band, and here's the thing. I'm just going to tie my Auburn story into this. A lot of people who were friends of me and Jessica will know that a lot of things happened for us around Zach Brown Band, about how we kind of started dating and stuff like that. Our song is one of his songs. So I'm just saying, the second that Zach Brown Band is in Jordan-Hare Stadium or Neville Arena, Kyle and Jessica Loomis are going to be there in butts and seats. And I'm not even a big concert person, but for that, I'm doing that thing. So now you have to answer.
Well, I think that's a good one. And I think too, you brought it up there and I meant to bring it up. Jordan-Hare and Neville Arena are both very different capacities.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So you got a wide range of people that could end up coming to campus. For me, it's going to be a country slant, but the Auburn theme. I think Riley Green will be playing.
Oh, that is so happening.
I think Riley Green will be playing Neville Arena pretty soon. He's from Phoenix City, a local guy. Went to Jacksonville State, but talks about Auburn all the time. Wears his Auburn hats all the time. And I'll throw in an added bonus for you. The girl he's been singing with a lot lately, Ella Langley, did do 2 years at Auburn. So I could see either of them being in Neville Arena, or I don't know, maybe Jordan-Hare here pretty soon.
Those are good picks right there. Maybe yours is more based in reality and higher possibilities than mine. But I'm telling you, if that happens, we will be there. I think it's a great choice. And let me just throw one in more, because it's good that we put country music. This group that they're working with, Elevate, and Peachtree Entertainment are helping coordinate all these things together. They're more country music based than anything.
Good to know.
But let's not pretend that if these aren't successful, more is going to come. And I was thinking about comedy acts, Nate Bargatze and Neville Arena. What say you?
I'll be there. It doesn't matter. I will be there.
I'm going to be there. If I can do that, or Jeff Dunham. Jeff Dunham with the puppets and all that stuff.
I'll be there.
I will be there in the seats too. You won't. Austin and I will be in the front row together, just like having a ball if we can get those things.
I'm in.
There we go. So obviously we're really excited about this partnership here. I want to talk a little bit about volleyball. We've been getting their schedule, as most sports programs do, in pieces to put it all together in one. And they finally released their non-conference schedule to put the whole schedule together for Auburn Volleyball 2025. So we want to really quick give you that. We're not going to go through the whole schedule, but we'll give you at least what they announced in non-conference. And I want to give you some advice on ones that are going to be very easy, especially if you're coming to town, to attend to. And we're going to do a bigger probably segment on this later in a couple weeks about fall weekend preview stuff. But Auburn's going to have their orange and blue scrimmage on August 17th, August 23rd. They're going to be at Georgia Tech, I believe it is. Yes, in exhibition. They'll be facing Louisville, Morehead State, St. John's on the road. Troy at home is their first true home meet on the September 3rd. They're going to have South Alabama at a neutral site on September 20th, September 5th. I've got these all mixed up. I went down the order like this. Wow, that was so confusing.
I was like, wow.
We just went all over the place. Basically, here's who you got. I'm gonna start over. Here are your ones that you need to know that we're playing, and I'll give you the ones you need to pay attention to date-wise. Home scrimmage against each other: Jackson State, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Louisville, Florida State, Morehead State, Florida State again, because we're doing home and away.
Oh, cool.
St. John's, UAB, Troy, Stanford, and South Alabama. And then you'll start SEC play, which will get obviously very challenging here. If you're going to be looking for ones to attend, certainly football will be in town the first weekend in September and the second weekend in September. So you're going to be looking at that September 5th, that September 9th, those would probably be your primary two in that early part of the volleyball schedule. So I know, Austin,
who are those against? Who are the September 5th?
Virginia, actually. That one is, I'm double checking myself now to make sure I'm not getting it right. It's a little bit yes, home versus Virginia, September 9th, and then home versus Florida State on September 12th. You know how much we love to compete against the Seminoles, so that'll be a good one to attend. Hopefully we'll see you even a couple times in there, Austin, for the slam there with all the stuff in there. Sorry, I was trying to.
Yeah, you're doing great. No, I think those sound like a lot of big opponents. I love the home and home with Florida State. We talk about this with baseball. We talk about this with everything else, but lots of in-state teams too that you love to see Auburn participate against. And it sounds like another difficult year for Auburn volleyball, and they look to rise to the challenge. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope, but there was a lot of attendance records broken last year for Auburn volleyball, and so hopefully those things continue. A big one against Florida State on the 12th. That's very exciting and intriguing. That I might just have to get over there.
It's a good one to go to if you go ahead and mark that on your calendars for everything. Remember, coordinate it with some of these weekends you're already going to be here and come out and support these ladies and Coach Crouch. It's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe wrapping up potpourri for us, some basketball news. We can kind of tie some things together. It feels like things are coming together while practice, quote unquote, hasn't officially started. You've seen them doing workouts and things like that for the men's basketball team. Some things have taken place. Jovic. I'm going to do that a lot.
We hope he's like a Jokic.
Yes. Philip Jovic has arrived onto campus. He's got his student visa all worked out. So that completes the basketball team.
That's right.
But I think the thing that even got people more excited this weekend was a little bit of a surprise for everybody, was that they officially took down the Minneapolis Final Four banner that's been outside the scholarship entrance for Neville Arena, and now have officially put up that San Antonio Final Four for 2025. I want to know where the banner is, Austin, so I can take it. But I'm sure.
Where are you going to put that?
Where won't I put it is the question. I will find a way. I mean, it's just going to drape over the front of my house.
I was about to say, it was as tall as your house. I don't think there's a lot of areas you have to put it.
Who needs siding anymore when you got a giant Final Four banner to cover everything up? That's what I'm saying right here. But
I'm with you. Look, I had not thought about them replacing that banner until the pictures were out of the new one. It did not cross my mind about that was going to be something they were going to do, because it makes sense. I'd gotten used to the other one being there for so long, but I think it's a good move. The other one had found some sunlight on it of that sun-kissed sun, sun-kissed sky, beating on it a little too much. So it was getting a little peachy, but it looks good to have the new one up there. And I'm with you. I'm wondering where that where that ended up. Do you think Bruce just is going to go hang it from his lake house balcony?
Oh, well, that's who deserves it. How about that?
Yeah,
That's who
sure.
deserves it. That's going to be something he can just do whatever with. Surely it's in storage somewhere. And I don't know, maybe they can't shrink it down to like put it inside Neville. I mean,
I'm
like,
going to say no. Yeah, I'm going to say that's not going to work.
we'll figure it out someday. Maybe when we get an opportunity to ask someone in the know, I'll just ask them, hey, man, just out of curiosity, what's happened to the banner? And if nothing else, help a brother out. I got some siding that could use a little bit of help over here. So it'll look good on the side of my house. But obviously some cool, exciting things for Auburn men's basketball. Just a little taste. I know it's still a long ways away, but basketball season will be here before you know it. All right, I want us to get started on our main topics this evening. Austin, it is here. Football season has arrived in terms of the talking season and the preseason practices, because as you and I sit here today, on this recording of a Sunday evening, we have not officially started the practices, but they will be reporting on the 29th is what I believe, and practices start on the 30th officially. So here we are, 2025 preseason Auburn football is here. I want us to discuss a little bit what we're thinking about. What are the stories? What are the questions? What are the talking points that we should be thinking about? And I think we'll probably do this in two parts. So we're going to start with the offensive side of things, because I think that's where most people are going to be thinking a lot about, and some of the maybe questions or just the bigger talking points. One of the things that you and I wondered, Austin, after spring was, would we have a true quarterback race? Would we have a battle? Would we have something of interest? Would Kyle be making a predictions video like I used to do? I had a suspicion that it would never get to that point, and here we sit today, because we can confirm off of the Auburn football social media accounts, QB1 is Jackson Arnold. Once again, Austin, it still fascinates me the amount of people that were questioning this. We're still giving me the question, who do you think should be the quarterback? Well, my answer always is whoever the coach thinks, because hey, he's got all the information and he's trying to win win and keep his job. And then B, I mean, he's literally said it almost verbatim, that he's the starting quarterback without using the word starter. But no more questions, Austin. Jackson Arnold's the guy, so all pressure falls on him. And what do you think? You think he's ready?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think, like we said last week too, the sign of him going to SEC Media Day should have been probably enough for the vast majority of people.
Some people it's not.
Some people it's not, and people, there was a video out this week of Deuce Knight throwing some pretty balls out there, and some good passes, and that just stirred him up even more. So maybe that was in response to it from the Auburn football social media accounts, that QB1 is Joshua Arnold. Who's that? Jackson Arnold. That's his alter
brother?
ego. That's right. It's his evil alter ego. And so, no, I think that this makes sense. I think we all saw this coming, and the writing was on the wall when Jackson Arnold was brought in. Even though a couple of days later they brought Ashton Daniels in from Stanford, and even though Deuce Knight was signed, I think when you bring in a guy like Jackson Arnold, who has had SEC playing experience, has a very familiarity with an offense like Hugh Freeze runs, and all the accolades coming out of high school and all the talent in the world that's just untapped, it makes a lot of sense. So the questions are put to rest from that standpoint. And now we know without a shadow of doubt who's running out there in McLean Stadium in just a little over a month. And we'll have to see how he does. But I certainly think he's ready. I think Hugh Freeze has a lot of confidence in him. We talked about that last week, whether that's public or private. I think he's got a lot of confidence in him and what he can do for this Auburn offense. So we'll see.
So let me ask you this from the other side of this. We sit here with no quarterback controversy, which I think for a large enough contingency of fans from what I've had in terms of conversations and things like that, there's a lot of people that were wanting Deuce Knight to be the starting quarterback. And I hear you on that. I think a lot of you don't do your research before you form those opinions, and you're going off of what some website told you about stars and rankings and things. And please hear me when I say that. That's not me doubting in any way that Deuce Knight isn't the quarterback of the future, and that he might even have an opportunity this year. But I guess, Austin, what would you be advising, if you could, the Auburn fans that find themselves maybe if not publicly, privately, slightly disappointed that Deuce Knight isn't the quarterback. Like, what would you say to them? What are your thoughts on Deuce Knight and his future? I think because now it becomes, I see this question a lot. Do you think he's going to leave? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Why are you so worried about it? So, I mean, what are your thoughts on Deuce Knight now that Jackson Arnold has been named? Because I think that's really the number 2 in most people's minds currently.
Well, and that's where I was going to go too, because I would be very cautious to say that Deuce Knight is number 2. I truly think Ashton Daniels is probably your backup quarterback here because of his experience at playing at the Division I level. I know it was at Stanford, and half of that was in the Pac-12, half of it was in the Pac-2, and whatever else they're called. But that he has played more than anybody else at this level in the step chart. And so I think that's the first thing I would say is that I'm not sure Deuce Knight is second. I think he's probably third, and that's not any shot at Deuce Knight. I think that it is very difficult for a true freshman to come in right away and win the job and win it outright. I think that, we saw that for the first time in some odd 100 years or something close to 100 years with Bo Nix. And that obviously worked out well. I'm going to just go ahead and say that it did work out well for Auburn and Bo. But I think that, it's okay to still be excited about the potential of Deuce Knight, but there is no guarantees in college football. There's, Jackson Arnold was also highly rated and came out and had a difficult year at Oklahoma. We certainly hope that he gets his fresh start at Auburn and something new with a lot more talent around him. But there is no guarantees in this sport. Certainly with how a player translates from high school to college. I think the bottom line is that for all the good that Peyton Thorne and Walker White and Hank Brown did for Auburn, I think that you can probably objectively say this quarterback room has raised that level a little bit. So certainly more than anything, we're excited because the floor has been raised, and Deuce Knight's part of that. But I'd be very cautious on all the hype and pump the brakes a little bit on Deuce Knight. He might get a chance this season. And if he does, then certainly he's given Auburn the best chance to win. And we'll just have to see how it plays out. But with regard to will he be here next year if he doesn't get to play? Maybe not. That's the world we live in right now, right? That changes every day. But there's other people that also probably won't be where they are if they don't get to play this year. So, it's transactional. People are coming in and out all the time. And I think Auburn's going to be just fine no matter who's leaving based on who they can bring in as well. Bottom line, I think you should be very happy with the quarterback room as a whole and excited for this year.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I would add upon this that if you're someone who finds yourself more often than you should asking the question, well, when do you think he's going to get to play, or do you think he's going to get to play this year? You're probably already setting yourself up for what I think is going to become, if it's not already, a toxic relationship with the quarterback situation and AKA Jackson Arnold. And you're kind of going to find yourself glad if he ever does struggle and looking to be one of those guys that wants to sound good around the water cooler. Is like, we got to start Deuce Knight. Like, and that might end up being the case. And if that's the case, full support, steam ahead. If that's what Hugh Freeze decides, who's trying to win every game and keep his job, let's go with it. But my advice to Auburn fans is, and actually not even my advice, my request, my plea, just call. This is my challenge to you, the Auburn Family Collective. Not everybody's going to be this way. Let's do it differently this time. Let's not do what we've done to Bo Nix. Let's not do what we've done to Peyton Thorne, Robbie Ashford, TJ Finley. And you can argue with what degree those guys were successful, but all of those guys in the last couple of years have faced some adversity at times that has been a little bit unfair. And a lot of it has been pretty stupid in regard to Bo Nix too. So let's not do that again. Support all the guys. Whoever's out at the quarterback one deserves your full support, and not you wishing that your guy that you think's better should just be out there because you want to be right. Anyway, that's my soapbox, and I'm going to stick to that on the quarterback position. I don't know if it's a mic drop. I dropped something. I don't know what it was. Let's talk about offensive line. Austin, this is for me, and I think you still too, to some degree, the most important aspect of this program, in that it has not, in my opinion, been a consistently good unit since 5-6 years. And there's a big discussion on why that is. Some of you have a very non-nuanced, context-driven discussion about that at times, but what we can all look at is that we've had quarterbacks running for their lives, and some being able to make a few more plays than other, aka Bo Nix. But I got us. This is the year, Austin, that we have got to take that next step, in my opinion. And this is not about it. I'm not calling out any individuals because this is a true unit-driven success perspective. We have got to have more consistent positive play from the offensive line this season to be successful. It is a game of inches. Got to protect the quarterback. Got to create holes for the running backs to be able to utilize. Can't have Tank Bigsby getting, I know he's not here, but I'm just using the analogy, getting hit in the backfield just to get his 5 yards to get back to the line of scrimmage and still have a great run average because, anyway, all that to be said, what's your perspectives, offensive line? What are you worried about? What are you excited about? Anything there?
Well, I mean, they return a really experienced offensive line. I think I read 7 players with 150 or more combined starts. So that, that's not, you talked about consistency. That's not really something they've had in a while, of being able to bring guys who did well or have played this league into another year. I think that, they've got guys like Dylan Wade, Tutal Miller, Connor Liu, obviously, and Jeremiah Wright, all guys who are very familiar with what Hugh Freeze and the offense wants to do, and what their job is. Highly rated recruiting guys. So you're stacking those classes like they've been doing. And then you add guys in the portal like Xavier Chaplin and Mason Murphy, who are other experienced guys in other conferences, that you hope only adds to that talent so that there's not drop off when you have to move guys around. I think that this is a group we should be excited about. Certainly they have to prove it on paper. Cole Kubelik was talking a lot about them at SEC Media Days and just saying that he was really high on that group. And if you haven't read or listened to anything Cole Kubelik says, he's very knowledgeable about the offensive line position as a former star at Auburn. And so I think this could be the year that Auburn has an offensive line that has the talent to do it in run and pass blocking. I think they've got the opportunity to kind of be in the upper echelon of the SEC with that. And that matters all the more to this offense and what they can do. And that translates to how we see Jackson Arnold play. It translates how do we see Damari Alston and the running back room play and the receivers as well. So you and I have talked about this for years. Like, I feel like it is our main point of conversation that without a good offensive line, things just don't go well. And blame gets put on different people, but if the offensive line does not perform the way it's supposed to, we never know how the play's supposed to look. We never know who the ball's supposed to get to. And you
never know how good someone actually might be if they're still having to run for their lives and feel scared the entire time. Because you can say you wouldn't be scared out there. Oh, you would be when SEC linebackers are running down.
100%. And look, Jackson Arnold came from a situation like that, and where he was running around a lot last year. And I think it led to a lot of the negative perception about how his play was at Oklahoma. You don't think that the wide receiver room and the offensive line room were not things he was looking for in his next spot. I think that they were, and I think he probably has a lot of confidence in this group. So I'm optimistic. There's been a lot of times over the last decade of the offensive line has let me down. I'm optimistic that's not the case this year.
I am trying to, I think, protect myself because I've been burned before. Again, this is not a criticism of individuals. It is more about the performance of the unit. I just need to see consistent play. I believe they can do it. And I believe that they've been working hard to get this thing fixed. I got to see it on paper. Until then, that will always be my greatest concern for this team as a whole, but especially on the offensive side. We saw them have moments of the offensive line last year where you and we can go back to like Kentucky, something like that, I think is that part of the year where we were like, is this the moment? Are we seeing offensive line turn? And then we saw a drop off again. But baby steps, maybe this is the time that it's going to be there for the foreseeable future. Let's hope that's the case. Moving over to running back, since we've kind of been working our way across how the offense is set up here. I think obviously it's hard to ignore the giant hole that needs to be filled in terms of production, in terms of athleticism, in terms of power, in terms of versatility, that Jarquez Hunter is vacating in terms of what he was able to provide the running back room, the offense. I think it speaks for himself in terms of records and where he falls on certain stats, how valuable he has been to Auburn these last few years. And so when you have that void opened up and or a vacuum that needs to be filled, certainly the question is, well, who is worthy of that, right? You know, if Bo Jackson leaves, you're going to be like, well, there'll never be another Bo Jackson. And certainly we're not saying that's Jarquez or anything like that, but certainly he's very good. But we have a vacuum, I think, that needs to be filled. And I think once again, you see sometimes fans fall into this perception. Well, I was convinced that this player in high school, because of this, is going to be the next guy, and I'm going to skip over somebody. I think that's the case with Damari Alston. To me, it's hit. People keep asking me, how do you see the running back room shaking out? I think it's very simple. Until proven otherwise, I think it's seniority driven, because I think they put in the time and the effort. And that's not to say that the effort and time hasn't been put in by anybody below, quote unquote, below Damari. But I think it's as very simple as that. You truly do most times have a 1A and 1B, 1A being Damari, Jeremiah being that 1B. I think after that, you look at Darrell Robinson, if he's healthy, seems to be a very intriguing prospect with his experience to come in and provide that third back situation to change things up. And I know people are excited about Alvin Henderson, and I am too. Ran very well in spring, I thought, when I got to see him for the few times at the open practice event. We no longer call it a game. So that's kind of who you can really. Omar Mabson's in there as well, but I think we recognize it's going to take some time for him. Any other thoughts about the running back room? Do you see it differently?
Well, like you said, I see it pretty seniority driven as well. I think, like you said, you've got senior, junior, sophomore, freshman, kind of in that order of how it shakes out right now. I do wonder if this will be like a go-to back like Jarquez Hunter, and then to give him a breather, a guy comes in, or will it be we're going to rotate them all pretty well by committee approach, if you will?
Yeah.
I think that's just something we're going to have to wait and see on how things are going. Damari Alston, certainly, I think he will be the quote unquote starting running back.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Rick Smith will be reading his name on the first home game. Well, I guess he doesn't read their names anymore, do they? They read their own names now in video format.
Times have changed.
Sorry, Professor Smith. I enjoyed your speech.
He'll say the running back.
Yeah, you're right. His pre-recorded the running back. Anyway, neither here nor there. I do think Damari Alston will be the starter, but I think I could see Jeremiah Cobb and him splitting a lot of time together. And like you said, I knew this was coming because it was very similar to us talking about Deuce Knight. There's going to be a lot of people clamoring for Alvin Henderson, and rightfully so. He's a very talented guy. Omar Mabson, a very talented guy as well. They're both body builds very similar to Damari Alston too. And so I think that you could see them coming in and giving him a breather. But I'd be very surprised if it wasn't Damari or Jeremiah's room as it speaks at this moment. Auburn has never had a shortage of running backs that were talented and where they wouldn't be able to all be on the field in some capacity at a time. So I think you'll see them all. It's just a matter of how much each one plays. We'll have to see.
I think we'll step out here for a minute. We may have a very similar scenario to what was a wonderful, glorious lightning and thunder combo of Ben Tate and Ontario McCaleb in 2009, and that would be Damari and Jeremiah Cobb. Jeremiah certainly has put on some more weight as he's been in college, and maybe has become less of that speed back type and more so just more versatile or more just a college back. But I think we've got a lightning and thunder situation here that could be a pretty awesome. And if you remember 2009, that was pretty fun with Ben Tate and Ontario McCaleb. So
huge offense here.
I'm just going to say, just think about that and don't dismiss anybody out of hand. As we move to the last few parts of the offense here, certainly we would be, we'll do wide receivers and then tight ends as best as we can. But wide receivers is certainly the attention grabbing group of the offense. And you can't have a Auburn conversation without Cam Coleman or Eric Singleton coming up. Certainly, before we even acknowledge that, I think we need to acknowledge that as we sit here today, there was an unfortunate event when Malcolm Simmons was involved in, and he is this moment is up in the air. I checked the roster yesterday, I think, and he was still on it. And this is a Sunday evening. That could change at any moment. I don't know what's going on there. And I'm not really here to speculate on what's going to happen. I think it's a little inappropriate at times for the benefit of the victim and for him, the alleged victim and the alleged perpetrator. I think we need to make sure that we just take a step back, let the process play out, and go from there. But certainly that does drastically change things, I think, a lot more than people are aware of for the wide receiver room, because people were talking, Singleton and Cam Coleman. My answer to them was, I really think it's primarily Coleman and Simmons first as the sure thing, because they've already proven it in the Gus. Whoa. That was a Freudian slip. That's a wishful thinking in the Hugh Freeze system. So anyway, we'll put that to the side. Just wanted to acknowledge Malcolm Simmons not here at this moment, and I think that's very much up in the air. What do you think? Is this combo, Eric Singleton, Cam Coleman, going to live up to the hype?
Well, one, yes, I think it will. And two, I don't think it's just a combo. I really think, like we talked about last week in Media Days, Horatio Fields is a guy that people aren't talking about. Perry Thompson, for all the laud and gush that we all gave Perry Thompson during his recruiting time, has seemingly been forgotten and not talked about as much. Bryce Kane in the same sentence. I think you could add him there. I think that we're just kind of forgetting those guys, even though that they were all very wanted and maybe didn't get to the playing time they wanted as last year. Oh, because a draft pick, Keandre Lambert-Smith, was there, or Cam Coleman and, like you said, Malcolm Simmons kind of stole some spotlight. So I certainly think that even without Malcolm Simmons, if he's not a part of Auburn's team this fall, there's tons of production that can come from the group. I think we'll get more clarity on Malcolm Simmons this week as practice starts and Hugh Freeze addresses the media. Maybe we'll find out something then. Regardless, I think Auburn's wide receiver room, there's a reason it's been talked about as one of the highest rated in the country, not just the SEC, in the country. Even still, for all that we've talked about with Eric Singleton, I feel like there's still some people who are just not as high on him, maybe because it was at Georgia Tech and an ACC that was down last year, and where guys weren't seen, and Georgia Tech's kind of a weird offense run. I think Eric Singleton is certainly one of the best receivers in the country, and I think you can find that across a lot of different media outlets and avenues of people who watched him play last year. In this type of offense, he should be all the better too. So this group has just a very, very high ceiling in taking a next step for Cam Coleman and the rest of the I almost said never mind. Rest of the freshman group. And on top of these transfers coming in that have experienced other places and added production. I think it's got all the potential in the world for this group to do something really special. And I think they're a huge reason why Jackson Arnold came over to Auburn. I really do.
Yeah. And Sam Turner's also in there. The Smith brothers are here too. There's other names that we're not even mentioning here because it's obviously a very large group, as wide receivers tend to be. I'm going to be honest with you, though, and you kind of mentioned that some people maybe haven't, I want to say, I'm just doing this a lot this show, quote unquote, bought into Eric Singleton. I find myself a little bit on that camp only because I don't like setting these lofty expectations for people until there's actually some validity. If you'll go back and watch the tape about Cam Coleman last year, I said the same thing. And there was a little bit of struggle at times for Cam until he kind of, as coach told him, learned how to practice, work through some injuries. And then we saw it's real, but it just took some time. I think the same approach, just because Keandre Lambert-Smith worked out so well last year, folks, doesn't mean it's going to transfer over here. I'm not trying to cast doubt on Singleton, more so just let's hold the phone here on this thing. I think right now you look to Cam Coleman, you look to some of these guys that have been here for a while, and let's see how we can work him in. And if he is as good as advertised, that's going to come out quick and shut people like me up. But once again, I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to say he's not going to be good. I'm just waving a caution flag until we see some more context and things like that. Hey, there's that buzzword again I love to use. Finally, very quickly, the tight end room, I do want us to discuss a little bit. And I know there's not maybe a lot of hype around this room. Certainly you lost Rivaldo Fairweather, many other names. It feels like Luke Deal, you lost a lot of leadership in this room in terms of just experience and things like that. You look at this room, I see it goes this way. This is Brandon Frazier's room to lead. He's been here a while. He got an extra year of eligibility. You've got Also a few new guys in there in terms of young ones. Ryan Gia, I think is how you pronounce his name. You've got Harris. I always get it back. Harris Davidson, I think his name is. Hollis Davidson. Yes, Hollis Davidson. Why do I always put Harris on him? I don't know. And then you've also got Preston Howard, who transferred in from Maryland, which is going to be more of a experienced guy. Any thoughts of intrigue there? Anything that we should be more aware of in the tight end room, or what do you think about it?
Well, I think too, Tate Johnson moved over from offensive line.
That's a good one, yeah.
To be in tight end, and I think that his experience on the team, him and Brandon are both seniors, so they are the guys that Auburn's kind of looking to kind of make sure this room works out the way it should. Certainly, there's not a lot of flash in the room to say, as far as guys who have done a lot in their Auburn career, in their playing career at the tight end position. But I think that Auburn was probably pretty high on Brandon Frazier getting that extra year because he can fit the role of what it needs to be, whether it's blocking, passing, or any mixture in between. I think because of where Auburn is at receiver, I think you might see a little bit less of maybe the two tight end look, and less usage of them as much as they did in the past. I'm not saying they're not going to be used. I'm just saying as much in the past because of all these receivers they're trying to get on the field. But keeping Frazier on the field, maybe in end zone or red zone situations, keeping him healthy could be really big for Auburn's success. I think that Auburn's going to really hope that Ryan Gay and Hollis Davidson develop really well. Both of those guys were very highly recruited and rated guys. We talked about Hollis Davidson being kind of flipping away from Auburn, flipping back. They'll be big for Auburn in the future, I think. But if those guys can develop quickly, there's no telling what other assets and benefits they'll have in this Auburn offense.
And certainly, I think this is the room that most people are looking at and going, I don't know as much as I feel like I should know about this. And that's maybe a fair point, but maybe they're the ones that are going to surprise us the most when there's not as much talk about them. Sometimes that's the case. So we'll look and see if the tight ends can do that for us this year. We've already spent a lot of time here, and we got one more main topic that we want to hit tonight. So I want to spend some time this evening talking about Nike. I know, folks, we're still talking about Nike. Some of you are rolling your eyes. They're like, oh, here we go again. Some of you are like going to start with your political tirades now. That's just how it goes with some of the stuff, Austin, this week in the comment sections. I'm like, oh yeah, you're just not making a difference, man. Like, come on, like let's it's here to stay. Stop. You don't. We heard you the first 1,000 times. You don't like Nike. Look. Let me just say this. I was an Under Armour fan. I'm not excited about the change, but I understand that I could be wrong about things, and I'm willing to, relent that people in higher places know my things. Anyway, I didn't expect to start off with yet another rant this show. What we want to talk about here in the Nike segment, obviously, was a big, big day for Auburn fans that are excited about this. We got the July 1st and official Auburn switches over to Nike. There was excitement that day, but there was a little bit of disappointment too, because they announced July 25th, Friday, that last Friday, was going to be the day that you'd have to wait for and then purchase online in store your Nike gear. And boy, was there a big showing at the team shop downtown, local shops of J&M, Alumni Hall, plenty of others. I think the new one, Rallies, is that the new one?
Rally House.
Rally House.
Yep.
Is a new. There's plenty of others out there as well. Online stores everywhere. I mean, you can get your Auburn and Nike gear galore. So I want us to talk about just what we saw that day, and then we're going to just have some fun. We picked some pieces that we kind of liked and might purchase at some point. I don't know. But what did you think, Austin, about the big day of Auburn is finally Auburn fans are able to purchase their Nike gear?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like you mentioned, there was a natural kind of disappointment that Auburn fans couldn't get their stuff on July 1st or the days following. And so I think Auburn did the best they could to kind of hype up this July 25th day of when you can purchase your Auburn gear. The summer swoosh was kind of their tagline of they had a 5K, they had inflatables out on the green space. Abby was there, and made it a whole event. So I think that, they did a good job of doing that. There was a good healthy line waiting for the new team shop next to J&M in downtown on College. And I think that, they had plenty of stock, but it was a whole day that was about it, and a celebration of Auburn Auburn's new era and change in apparel. So I certainly thought it went well. I felt like people came into town for it. I wasn't around downtown the entire time. We went to and from a couple times to see what all was going on. But I mean, I thought overall it went well. I'll tell you who I was really in tune to. I was really in tune to watching Clint Richardson's Twitter account because it was Clint's like inauguration day. Like it was massive, and he was tweeting out links left and right. And if you haven't ordered any gear, I hope you'll go through his affiliate links. I know that's going to help him out a lot. But Clint was kind of like my one-stop shop of where I could find everything. So I felt like the person who was like, when Black Friday is moved to online, that's what I felt like. Because I was like, I could see everything right here from my couch. But I'd also understand and appreciate everyone wanting to go and experience that moment. And I think there were plenty doing that too.
Yeah, it looked like it was fun. They had like a DJ out there. They had events for the kids and things like that. And players came out to do autograph signings and celebrate in that way and show that their excitement about the switch to Nike. So I loved once again that Auburn continues, where it's the university of the town and both together, working to continue to build this family core and build upon these community events that seem to go off no matter what the subject is in such fine fashion. I love seeing those things. I wasn't able to go, but we had videos from there because we're good like that. So you got a lot of questions. Hey, were you in Auburn today? I was like, maybe we were, maybe we weren't. It's the magic of content creation. Maybe we got little elves that help us out. That's what it is. They're not, when Santa's elves are not working, they come work for me on the side, and they become Auburn elves. Auburn elves, whatever you want to do.
It's a little scary to think about.
It's a little creepy. I'm gonna move away from it now. So yeah, obviously a big day of that. I didn't really see any other big storylines other than maybe there was a little disappointment about some selection, but I think people once again are missing the point that it's not like there's this one day and that's everything. You're getting everything that's ever going to exist. This is just the first wave of it, and
correct.
You're going to get more. They're going to come out. That's the whole point about this is how you market things. This is how you build excitement about that. Sorry, I'm laughing at it. Look, we're trying to do a show right there. Y'all got to go into the comment section and throw me off like that.
I think like you brought up, like it seems like this is a lot of the fall collection. I think once basketball gets closer, you're going to see a whole bunch of new stuff. Clint has talked about their shoes next week, apparently, something like that. So there's plenty of more stuff to come out. We'll get into our selection a little bit here in a minute, but I think that overall, Nike has a lot of schools, right? We've talked about that. And so naturally they use a lot of templates that they think look good, and they're able to interchange a lot of those schools out with them, whether it be colors or names and things like that. So if you were looking around, you probably had an idea of what Auburn's would look like. But overall, I thought it was fine. Let's dive into a few that you got here.
We got a few selections here, and these aren't everything that we like. These are just some of the things that we wanted to throw out there that you might find interesting. These are just, for me, the first things that stuck out. And then Austin gave me a list, and I said, well, that's the most Austin thing I can see on that list. So I literally can see him wearing that. So I'm going to start with a hat because I'm a big hat person. I love hats.
Okay.
I like to, sometimes you can see them up here on the screen. Got a lot of hats up here. So this very first one that I'm bringing up for you guys on the screen, I'll do my best for the audio people.
I knew it was a trucker hat. I knew it.
It is an Auburn trucker hat. It is the blue front, white mesh back, and then the War Eagle is written out on it in orange border, mainly with the little blue inner part of it.
We call that a drop shadow, the orange drop shadow.
Thank you for making me look like an idiot. But
blue font, white stroke, orange drop shadow.
You know what? Austin's describing everything from this point forward. But let me just say, Austin, am I stepping out a little bit to say this doesn't, or it kind of looks like the War Eagle wall a little bit with the font style, or am I seeing things here?
Not the font style, but I think it's mirrored after that, right?
Okay,
I think that it's got the War Eagle word mark. I liked it a lot. There was a lot of different kind of hats or shirts with this kind of block lettering on it. I saw Butch Thompson with a picture of, he really liked it. So maybe
that's why I liked it.
That might be. And so, but I like it. I think it looks clean. It's certainly something different. And then, I mean, the trucker hat, I knew you'd be all into
Yeah,
that.
you knew it. You knew what was going to happen here. Let's go to one that you selected. And I saw this. You
Oh,
talked
boy.
about knowing the trucker hat. I saw this and I was like, Austin's wearing
Yeah,
that day
man.
one. I mean,
Man,
you love you some striped Auburn
I
polos.
sure do.
And look at this thing right here.
Now look, there were multiple polos, okay, and there were some that AU is a little big on some for me. This one right here, and there's a blue version and a white version, but this is the polo for me right here. And when my paycheck comes in from E2C Network, I think this might be the one for Waco. But I'm just waiting on Kyle's direct deposit to come over.
Same here, man. I'm waiting on that direct deposit too. So,
but this one, I think these are the best looking polos they came out with. There are some others, and there's some with Sailor Obby on them if you like that. There's some with the big AU on them, but this orange striped one, man, that is a good looking polo.
Yeah, it is. All right, I've got the next one for me is another hat. Shocker here.
Okay.
This one just stuck out to me because it's got the unique eagle logo that you don't see a lot. Now, I'm not talking about Eagle A for those of you that aren't are listening, but it's just
it's like the American Eagle version.
Yes, that side profile, wings up. It says War Eagle in a circle over the top. The lower circle is established 1856. Obviously, it's got history in it. It's got an eagle in it. It's a blue base with that everything else in orange, including the Nike symbol. To me, this one just popped off the page to me when I was looking through that opening day. And it's why I like it so much. If you see me on campus this year, I'm probably going to have a new E2C hat, I think, but I will be wearing my Eagle A hat a lot otherwise than that. So be looking for the trucker Eagle A hat, but this is one that kind of was up my alley as well. Another shirt that I saw Austin in immediately, we'll go long sleeve, was this one right here.
Man.
What is it with you? And like, was this beige? Is this what this is? Beige?
Sure. That's an off-white looking. Look, I don't know if you have my other one up here that's similar, but this style they had with kind of like the embroidered, like kind of italicized font of Auburn. I thought this style worked really well. Here's a good story right here. The female version in short sleeve of this is the only purchase anyone in my house has made of Auburn Nike stuff. Emily Scott is the only person in my house to have purchased an Auburn Nike shirt. There's one that's the female version of this one, the short sleeve. She was all into it, and that we went in person and got it for her. So I love this. I cannot buy this until at least November because it is way too hot to wear this. But I love the little peak of orange right there on the little tab at the bottom and the logo on the side. I think this looks good.
I'm not a long sleeve t-shirt person, but this is one of those. I do like it when the collar is a little bit different color, and that says that blue with the beige, whatever, off-white, this beige base, and then the orange Nike sign with that italicized Auburn University on the pocket.
And a pocket?
And a pocket. You're a pocket guy. No offense.
I'm a pocket guy.
I don't know what that means about you, but you're a pocket guy.
Absolutely zero.
All right, one more from me and one more from you here. This is just a standard
Classic,
t-shirt. Now, can I say, if you're looking at this and if you saw this in the store, this is actually a youth. I only saw it available in youth. I think it was at Alumni Hall, but this has that heather look.
Yeah.
And it's, that I'm talking about. So it's a blue, navy blue, kind of almost form-fitting shirt, like your Under Armour style things that we saw a lot. Probably that's why I have a lean towards it. But it's got that heather look under that almost looks like tiger stripes. So if they have an adult, this might be something that I actually go out and get. I love those slick feel shirts, dry fit shirts that it's a subtle. I know they didn't mean it to be tiger stripes, but it feels like it's in there, which kind of is reminiscent of the track and field cross country gear that if you saw our show with Clint, we went into detail about how that's hidden in there. So that's why I like this one a whole lot. I got one more for Austin to round us out here. No, I think you're going to like this one.
Okay.
I don't have the one you're probably were hinting at, but I think this is a good one.
Oh yeah, man. Look,
jumpy tiger.
The leaping tiger on the navy dry fit shirt with the retro Nike logo. I saw this one today before I sent it to you. So I actually only saw this one available on the initial release. So that's another thing people like, there's some stuff at certain places that's not at everywhere places. So there's time for more releases. I saw this one at Rally House though, on their website, and they're the new they're a mass like Fanatics in person kind of thing in Tigertown. But this is something I don't feel like we got a lot of. This logo is not used a ton. The retro, probably what, Kyle? 80s, 90s, early 90s.
Or it's got to be 80s, definitely, maybe early 90s.
The Leaping Tiger logo. I'm not talking about the one through the A. This is just the tiger. In that kind of old school Nike logo. That's not just the swoosh, but the word mark above it too. This is one I think will be in my first purchases group. I don't know if it will happen or when it'll happen, but I think it will be in my first purchases group because I think that thing looks sharp.
Yeah. I got to ask you with that in mind, we just looked at the Leaping Tiger, and most of you know what we're talking about with that logo if you weren't watching that on screen with us. And then you got the Eagle A, and I think those are the two retro ones that are probably everybody's favorite. Am I hearing from you that the Leaping Tiger for you is greater than the Eagle A, or just that style eagle pose?
Well, so growing up,
you got to pick one.
I understand. Growing up, the Eagle A was really big for me. I think it's been used more, and it's still great, but I think it has been. It's not as scarce as it once was. So I think it's been used more. I'll tell you what I really like is both the Leaping Tigers, the Leaping Tiger by itself, and the one through the block A. Mm-hmm. I don't think is getting used enough either. But that Leaping Tiger we just showed, and it doesn't do any good for me to show another one because
here it is again, just to get on this shirt for you.
I was trying to describe it more to those listening, but me showing another one does not help the people listening.
I was about to say, what are we doing here?
The math wasn't mathing. So I think, Kyle, I think the Leaping Tiger for me it's up there. It's a favorite. Now I'm not. Look, this isn't a Clint Richardson crazy uniform concept show. I'm not saying it needs to be on anything, but I think it looks really good on a shirt like that.
It does. We agree. We love the retro stuff, even if we differ a little bit. Eagle A is, even if it's the Eagles out
it's
of
solid.
The A. Come on, like
now, where's Sailor Obby ranked here?
I like Sailor Obby, but not as much as it probably goes in those retro logos. For me, it goes the eagle of the Eagle A, Leaping Tiger either in the A or by itself, and then Sailor Obby. I probably on the right item, Sailor Obby probably could take precedent over Leaping Tiger for me, but I'm an eagle person. I love that so much.
There's a lot of Sailor Obby stuff out there these days too.
It has been used.
They picked it up. Yeah.
No shortage of that. All right, so there's Auburn Nike, the celebration. It continues. It's here. You can now buy all the stuff. Please support our friends like Clint Richardson through his affiliate links. We do have an affiliate program as well with Alumni Hall. If ever you need our link as well, that's a way that you can support us. But we do ask that you consider Clint first as a content creator. That's one of the primary ways you can support him and a big help for him and for the local business. Here's the other thing, too. I want to say this because one thing, I saw that in the chat, too. One thing that he's
on one.
He is on one today. Dalton's been gone for a while, and so he's on one now.
He's not all the guns are loaded.
He's not here. He's not able to be here as much, and so he is just fired up. This is why you guys should join the live show. For those of you on the audio portion, do both, by the way. But I want to say this about whether or not you're. Which way I was going to go? This you got me all. I forgot where I was going. With this. Where were you going?
Were you going for or against Nike political or
no? We already did that piece. Trust me, that'll be done again.
We were talking about
local versus major. Like, folks, let's not get on this thing where we have to demonize one because the other's not a local and or the vice versa. That support them all. I would advise you for some of those local businesses, especially like J&M and I know Alumni Hall and. Rally, whatever.
Well, Rally. I think Rally House is more like Fanatics, but
they're chains, but they still have a local presence at each place. So go support as much as you can at everybody. Don't just spread the love out, but certainly take care of everybody as you can. And let's not do this division thing. Let's just
not worth it.
It's not worth it. There's too much division in the world. Let's not divide up the Auburn family. Go get your Nike stuff if you want to. If you don't just move on. And all that applies under there. All right, this has been a long one, but we had some good topics this evening. So thank you all for being here for episode 135. If you want to keep up with me, you can do so on X at Kyle Loomis 24. Also keep up with the E2C Network throughout all social medias. Usually just look up E2C Network, or you can hit us up on the email E2CNetwork@gmail.com. Where can they find you?
Yeah, on X, on Instagram at Austin G Scott. Send us what you got so far, and let us know if that we need to put in a formal request for a War Dustbuster Nike shirt.
I don't know that Desmond's coming back. There were some. It was taken down by Dustbuster, believe it or not. But that one lives on in infamy with one of our very valued viewers who's in the chat right now. So congrats to him. With that being said, thanks for hanging out for episode 135. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, long one, folks. Thanks for sticking around.
We're on a streak of long ones. Like we just talk.
It's
man.
football season too, man. So we got a lot to like prep
right.
people on, and it's going to be a lot of that the next couple of weeks. We're going to do our best to stay within that hour time frame, but we don't want to just rush just to rush. We want to try to cover what we can. All right.
I was gonna tell you, I didn't want to do it on like the official recording, but we were walking downtown. J&M didn't have anything. No Nike stuff
at all.
None. Thought that was really strange. But maybe their shipments later. Maybe they're.
I think I did hear something about that. So I think that's probably.
I hate that for them if that happened, but I was just like, oh,
interesting.
So to your point there at the end, all the more to if you're waiting, maybe look to supporting J&M or someone else.
It's a great point. Thanks for filling us in on that, because I think I was aware of it, but I didn't really take it all in or whatever. But
sure.
Anyway, anything else, sir?
I think that's it for me.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, Austin.
Thanks for having me.
See you next week.
War Eagle.
War Eagle. All right, folks, you're stuck with me for the rest of our time together, which will just be a few minutes here. So stick around. We're going to move into a shorter Q&A time. If you'd like, I can go back and look at some of these interesting comments throughout, but bring up anything that you'd like to have me expound upon, anything like that. Reminders first for the week. Thank you all for being here. We have always great crowds, even during the summer here, and we want to continue to do that. So keep coming back Sunday nights at 9 Eastern time. Your schedule for the week is the normal stuff. We'll be back again once on Sunday next week is the plan. But don't forget that our Wednesday night show, Auburn Family Night, is back, and we'll be doing Wednesday night shows for the foreseeable future. And those are always fun ones. The Granddaddy Show, as a lot of people like to call that. You can call in, you can be in the live chat. We bounce around to 1,000 different Auburn topics, can unpack things in a little bit more length and detail with you, because it's about you. It's Auburn Family Night. So be here with us if you can. As we mentioned, our friends at Alumni Hall, we're an affiliate with them. If you want to shop with them through our affiliate link, no extra charge to you. It just helps them show that we're a valuable partner, and we would love for you to do that for us. If you need the link, let me know, but we usually post it out when we can for you all, and it's in some of our other web pages and things like that. That would be the main announcements I have for you this week. Certainly practice starts. I don't really have anything special planned other than we will be doing whatever the athletic department provides for us in terms of press conferences, interviews. We'll be giving you most of those things on our YouTube channel, things like that. But we'll obviously make some decisions about what we do and don't want to put out there, what we are and allowed not to put out there. So just keep that in mind, that you will get some of those things this week. And while you can watch it anywhere, we'd hope that you'd watch it with us and talk about it with us on our particular platforms. Q&A time. If there's anything, if there's not, we can round out and head home. I can look at some of the comments here. There was a lot of sass being given to me and Austin from one Dalton Tedder. Good to see you, Dalton. I am a confirmed bird guy, but believe it or not, it has very little to do with me being a person who used to work with birds. Why I like the Eagle A, it's just I think it looks just awesome, absolutely awesome here. All right, I'm scrolling back through here. A lot of good people here today when we were talking about the dynamic between Birmingham. The only reason that it seems like there's a massive majority in Birmingham is because the bandwagon fans from the Saban days, they will fall away eventually. They probably will at this point. Corey, I don't know where this came up in this, but said we have to beat Vandy. Pavia already talking smack about Auburn. Pavia, let me just be honest to you, and no shade thrown at the guy in terms of I recognize he will always be a greater athlete and greater quarterback than I could ever wish to be, but he's only got a few more years of a year of relevance left. I'm just going to be honest. He can probably make it to the NFL in some capacity and maybe even find some playing time there, but I don't think we're going to be seeing him at that level for very long. So, man, if you want to stay relevant and have your smack talk with Auburn, bring it on. I mean, it is what it is. Just we'll put it on the bulletin board, and you may not like what happens on the under end of it. Yes, Dalton, we are glad to have you here, and hopefully we will get to see you more regularly. You came in guns a-blazing tonight, which was always fun. He called me. I can't bring that one up. That feels a little inappropriate. WT brought this up, and I'll expound on it again for a second. He said, I had no idea there was a political conversation about Nike. I like one of the new t-shirts, and I will probably wait for a while that the prices will go down. Yeah, there is a political conversation around that. And let me be very clear. I have no problem with people having their own opinions formed, especially if they've done the research to speak on it and aren't just regurgitating what their preferred slant or news source has told them to say and do. You've actually, done is what I believe true. And I say this outside of politics. I say this with like sports as well. People believe somehow that going to Nike was going to magically make all recruiting better. And I've asked for evidence of that, and nobody can give me that. So I just asked you to do your research. Here's the other, and this is the other angle too. You are not helping Auburn by continuing to go to comment sections, what public forums to just spew the disdain that you have for this. Trust me, you've probably posted it multiple places, so we've heard it the first time. At this point, if you need to take the lesson your mama probably should have taught you and probably didn't for some of you by that thing. If you got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just move on. You don't like it. That's fine. I don't like Nike in terms of the move away from Under Armour as much as others, but I recognize that, hey, man, we got things. There are some politics that are at play there. I acknowledge that, but folks, life's too short to get that riled up about some things that in the grand scheme of things, you posting in a comment section is not going to make that big of a difference about. In fact, it's probably going to move people away from taking you seriously on that commentary more than anything. If you want to make a difference, have actual face-to-face public conversations with folks and see if you can change some minds or hear a different perspective. People don't have to watch very long here to know where I fall in some of these discussions and things like that. I don't make a big deal about it. But if you know some of my values and things like that, you'd know where I would feel about certain things. But my goals aren't ultimately to show you where I stand on my politics, to show you and where my support of, primarily support of my Lord and Savior, but obviously the support of my family after that, but my support of Auburn. And if Auburn's here with Nike, that's where I am, even if it's not the thing that I necessarily wanted. All right. So I didn't expect to get into that, but it was a good time to bring that up. Anything else before we round out our time together? Yeah, I think we covered the majority of this on here. Good to see so many different people tonight here in the chat. So thank you guys for being here with us this evening. All right. Thanks for hanging out, being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Auburn Experience live podcast recording 135 is done, folks. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this evening until we get the opportunity to spend some more time with you and talk to you again. War Eagle.